Do I need to share my screen now or like?
No, not yet. Just a
Okay,
moment.
sure.
So Steve, please check your inbox. I just sent the link to you on WhatsApp.
For sure.
Okay. Hello everyone. Welcome to the final class for UI UX training for this month of February. We've started in the last 4 weeks, and we are waiting for more people to join before we go in depthly. Right now, we have a couple of people joining already, but we're still waiting for more to join. So while we're waiting for more to join, first off, is we want to do a big shout out to everybody, all our tutors that has been here from the very first weekend down to this moment, and we are very grateful to have someone all the way from Bali coming out live by 2 a.m. It's time now to give us something fresh, something interesting, something that is going to really literally change our life, right? And we are going to be learning business of design from the CEO of Blissful Designs. If you are just joining, I just want everybody to scream Steve Lauda, Steve Lauda, Steve Lauda. We can't wait to hear from you. Just scream Steve Lauda. We can't wait to hear from you. So Steve, we're going to wait for a few minutes just to wait, make sure that more people have joined, and then we can start. Okay. So
For
once we are,
sure.
yeah.
Hi
Uh,
guys.
by the way, the I want to also do a big shout out to Felix. Why do you off your why do you off your camera? So I want to do a big shout out first to Franklin for 2 weeks ago. It was very amazing. And now Felix here, the person that actually thought of this idea, making sure that he partnered with Fema Dojo to bring this live and direct to you. Big shout out. And make sure that you stay all the way to the end, because there's going to be awards mentions, prize winners, and so on. Please, if anybody in later watch this video and they check in the comment section that we are going to send something to you via something, please avoid it, because you need to have joined the community before you can have access to any of these things. We are not going to message or DM anybody on the YouTube comments about prize giveaways and all. If you hear your name when we call you for the awards you've gotten, it means you are part of the community. It means you've been showing up in the course of this program. And make sure that we still have other programs that are going to come on. You can check our YouTube channel, check our social medias, DM our community managers across our social media, our different social platforms, so that you can have access to it. So once again, I'm going to be introducing Steve Lauda, the CEO of Blissful Designs. They have clients all over the world, US, Bali, Africa, and so on and so forth. And they are doing real amazing stuff. And the CEO has decided to take this time, even despite the fact that he's supposed to be sleeping by now, 2 a.m. He's going to be teaching us about what it does, what his day to day looks like in managing businesses, right? So, Business of Design by Steve Lauda. So, Steve, over to you.
Thank you, man. Let me just share my screen first. And yeah, please wait. Let me know if you can see my
So,
screen.
business of yeah, I can see your screen.
All right, so shall I begin?
No, I cannot see your screen yet. Can you try to see the screen again?
I can see the screen. Yeah.
I see the screen. Okay,
Yeah,
let
yeah, I
me
can.
think. Give me a second here. Let me just check. Oh, okay, yeah, I can see it now.
All right, so I'll begin. Thank you so much, everyone, that joining the webinar. I think we can call it a webinar. And
I can
yeah,
see the screen. Yeah.
I've been invited here since like 2 weeks ago, and it's an honor for me to be able to share with you guys about the business side of design when you decide to become a freelancer, or eventually later on during your career you decided that you want to start your own design agency. So hopefully whatever I'm sharing right now is going to be super beneficial for you to a certain extent. So without further ado, I'll begin the presentation. Oops. Okay, so the first one is about the core business fundamentals for UX designers. As we know that we are as a designer, we are not just like doing this for fun. I think everybody knows that. And we know that when we do this because of money, of course. We want to pay our bills. But on top of that, we are actually contributing to the world with our design. We want to help people because design, I think you've heard this everywhere, that design exists to make our life easier. So, with that being said, when we design something, we are contributing towards the business of our clients. So then business fundamentals become a very, very important thing that we should know about as UX designers in this case. Okay. I think some of you, or like majority of you that already familiar with design already know that business really matters in UX. And how I can prove that to you is by showing you the example. So the prime thing about UX when it comes to business boiled down into three things in most cases. So the first one, I believe that all of you that aspire to become a web designer, at least you want to influence the conversion rates of the website. So that's the first one. And then the second part, when it comes to business, is the customer retention. Because obviously, after you convert someone as they are like stranger or like visitor, you want them to become customer. And UX also influence the retention. What we mean by retention is like keeping the person or like the user to stay as long as possible within the platform or the business. And when they stay, they will create what we call as brand loyalty. You know, all of the brand that really popular around the world, such as like Nike, Apple, Microsoft, and you name it, a lot of them. But I'll bring two case studies right now just to showcase you how design really impacting business. And I think this is really popular to begin with. At some point, some of you might already read the case studies, but I'll bring it here anyway. So the case studies are Airbnb and also Spotify. So the first one that I'm going to bring to you is the Airbnb. If you Google, if you try to ask ChatGPT about Airbnb, and then you ask like the history, you know that Airbnb in the very beginning is really struggling. Nobody really believe in what they believe, because at a time it's very strange for a person or like someone to rent their place and somebody else staying with them at the same place. So there's like a very strange business model back then. But now it's very common. So the problem that they have back then is that Airbnb struggled to gain users' trust in the early days. So the travelers, people that kind of like buying the idea in the beginning, actually
Steve,
really hesitant to book the
uh,
stranger's place.
Steve, can I ask you
Sorry.
a question? So what is Airbnb? Because like some people will not know what Airbnb
Oh,
is.
okay. So
Uh,
Airbnb is one of the most popular app in the world to book a place for vacation. Like if you visit a country and then you need to find a place that not hotels to begin with, it's just like a private place where you can stay comfortably. Airbnb is your go-to app. So yeah, that's the context of what is Airbnb to begin with. So back to the topic. In the early days, people are really hesitant to use the app because, like I mentioned, the business model is very strange back then, and nobody really wants to stay at someone else's place. So, for example, Adebimpe decided signing up to Airbnb, and he decided that he wants to rent one of his room inside his house, and then I want to pay a visit to the country where Adebimpe currently live. And then I look up at Airbnb app and I found his room being rented. In the modern days, right now, everything feels so common with this kind of thing. But back then in 2010, it's a very strange occurrence. Like, can I trust Adebimpe? What if I stay at his place and then in the middle of the night he might kidnap me and bring somewhere else? That kind of concern really arise from people's. And also the other problem that the the business has at the moment is that host or like the people that owning the property has a difficulty showcasing their properties effectively. So with that being said, those are the problems. Now we are taking a look at how UX can solve this problem. So the first thing about the problem that being solved is better visuals, because Airbnb is very famous being one of the most beautiful app in the world, and it stays true throughout their history. So since the very beginning of the app, their app is already beautiful because the founder is a designer to begin with. So the first problem that being solved by UX is better visuals. So back then, um, I don't know you guys if already exist back then because I believe like all of you here like might be very young. And what they do is that they provide one of the app that provide really high quality photography. And back then, during the early days, the founders even take the photography by himself for the people that having the properties. And then when they provide better visuals, um, they also provide UX that building trust inside the app, such as like adding reviews. Back then, reviews is not really common to begin with, and now it's really common already. And then they have like a very innovative feature as well back in the days, like verified profiles. Verified profiles is not very common. Like if you take a look at Instagram back in 2013, verified profiles is very luxurious thing you cannot buy. Nowadays you can buy it, but like back then it's like a merit based. There's also something that being applied by Airbnb. And then Airbnb is also one of the app that provides secure payments back then. And the other UX solution being provided by Airbnb back in the days is the streamlined booking process. So if being compared with regular hotels, Airbnb booking process is very streamlined and very seamless in the very beginning. So with all that being said, all of the problem that the business has is being solved by UX. So it's UX is very powerful. So what is the impact towards the business? The conversions rate increased, the growth, the revenue growth is also increased, and eventually people are really loyal to the brand. So that's about Airbnb. Wait a minute. Suddenly it's getting hot here. Okay, so I'm continuing. The next one is Spotify. I believe most of you already know what is Spotify. Um, Basically, Spotify is the pioneer of us having all of the music that exists in the world with just a simple subscription. Um, so the problem that being faced by Spotify when they getting started boiled down into three things. Um, Users were overwhelmed with too many song choices, and then it's very hard for new users to find relevant music quickly when they are getting started, when Spotify just like launch the app. Um, when people try to use Spotify in the very beginning, a lot of them actually not finding Spotify as a good app to begin with, because in order for you to be able to discover a song, it's a very hard process to begin with. Not like Spotify right now. When you try to find a music, it's really easy. You just like type in the keyword, then like the music will show up. But back in the days when Spotify just getting started, um, I've been there. I'm using the first version of the app. It's really terrible. Like you cannot really find the song if you like not typing the title of the song correctly. So, with all of those problems, what is exactly the UX solutions that being used by Spotify, which being provided by the designer that they have? The first one is the personalized playlist. Like they introduce those a feature like Discover Weekly, Daily Mix, and it's being done through AI. So Spotify is one of the company that using AI very early. They use AI to compose this Discover Weekly and Daily Mix. This doesn't exist at any other places before, and Spotify is like the pioneer for this kind of thing. And then the next innovation that Spotify have that also being, quote unquote, being copycat or like being stole by other platform, including YouTube, is the smart recommendations. So I don't know how many of you using Spotify right now, but like the AI can give you song suggestions based on your listening pattern. So, for example, like Adi Bimpe, if he is sad right now, and then he is like listening to a lot of sad songs in the past 3 days, somehow the AI can recognize that and will suggest um more sad songs for him, so then like he can be sadder. No, just kidding, but uh all in all, it's just like the AI is so smart that the AI can recognize what we are doing inside the platform. That's the point. And this is something that not common um in 2015, 2016, and ChatGPT doesn't exist back then. They are still in the research process, but Spotify already using AI. So my point is, UX in this case is not just about the interface that you are looking at, but more towards like how can you make the experience, as the name suggests, user experience. How can you influence the experience of the app that you build? So it goes beyond just like the screen that we are staring. Of course, um, having a eye candy design is necessary to make user stay convenient with the app. But in order for us to make people stay loyal with the app or like with the business, we need to think and bring solutions beyond just the pixels itself. And last but not least, the solution being provided with seamless navigation. So if you try to Google later, um, and compare the very first version of Spotify up until today, like their UI is so enhanced, like making finding new music is very easy. Back then is horrendous. It's bad. But now like the evolution is really great.
Yeah.
So how is the business impact when it comes to Spotify leveraging UX? Of course, increase user retention. So back then, if you read the history, some people just like using Spotify only like 3 days a week, and then they uninstall the app. But now, I believe so many people cannot live without Spotify, including myself. Like my day is not complete if I'm not listening at least like 2 or 3 songs in Spotify. And with enhanced UX, the engagement rates also increased because if you know, Spotify is also one of the app that set the trend of those Spotify Rewind, where you can share to your social media like your top 5 artists, top 5 songs, those kind of thing, and then YouTube follow the same trend, and then like all of a sudden all the other business also do the same thing. And when they leverage UX, when the UX is really good, of course, they make more money, which is like the growth of the subscription also increased. So yeah, this too is the prime example of how UX really beneficial to make a business growing rapidly. But yeah, in fact, there's still many business owners that not convinced that UX is actually that beneficial. So then it's our job as designers to be able to convince them that UX is what they need in order to make the business growing. Okay, in order for you to do that, you need to understand the language that being spoken by businessman or business owner. So you need to understand what business metrics are. Okay, so then like you can translate your design decision, whatever you make inside Figma, to be something that makes sense for business owner to understand. In order for you to do that, you need to understand what is business metrics. Some of you might already know, some of you might not know yet. So then here I will explain. Like I mentioned before, UX is not just about the design, right? It's not just about the interface. Where I also already explained earlier that UX will have a direct impact to the business performance. So why you need to be able to understand business metrics? It boils down into three key points. The first one, when you understand business metrics, it helps you to be able to communicate your value, you know, the value of the design that you produce, um, and you can communicate it better to the stakeholders. Um, the chances are you might not working directly with the CEO. You might working directly with the head of the design of the company. You might working directly with the head of the marketing. Whoever they are, um if they are already in the leadership position, what they care more about is not, oh, the I look so cool. It used a very vibrant colors, the font is really cool. No, they care less about that, but they care more about what this design is going to bring to the table in terms of the business impact. So that is why knowing business metrics helped you to be able to communicate better and win their hearts. And then the second point, is about you know that your design decisions shouldn't be made based on your own intuition. I think all of you can relate that when you design something, you will always have the tendency that, oh, I think this part can be improved. Oh, this part can be improved. But then all of those most likely come from our assumption. When we think something is bad inside a design, other people might not think the same way. So that is why you need to have data, in this case, business metrics, to make sure that your design decision is actually being proven by someone else, by the users. Otherwise, whatever you try to make is always based on your assumption and your imagination. So, of course, in the very beginning, when you try to make something from scratch and there is no data to back it up, yeah, you can use your assumption, educated guess, following best practices. But when the app or like the website already launch, it's very important for us to use data to help us to make a better design decision to improve the design. And when you also understand business metrics, it will also help to shape up the goals of the business. So then like you can tie up the business goals into the design goals as well. So they can go hand in hand to make the business growing. I
Uh,
hope
uh,
I'm not speaking too fast at
no,
this
no, you're
point.
taking it back. So I just a question here, right? So you mentioned data, and you mentioned
Mm.
so can you expand more on what data is in terms of user experience, so that people watching will not feel like they are kind of lost? Because you mentioned data, you mentioned UX. So if you can explain more about that, thank you.
Yeah, for sure. I think the best way for me to explain is by giving example. So that's what I'm going to explain here.
Okay.
The first one of the example of data is called ROI. You can Google this later to learn more about it. But ROI means return on investment. So it means that the total cost required to acquire a new customer, including marketing, sales, and the UX investments. And in this case, the UX data or like the data that we will gather is, I give the example here, a website redesign that increased conversions can directly boost company revenue. So by doing that, by measuring the conversion rate growth and measuring the company revenue, those are two different data in here. When we calculate those, um, I'm not showing the example of how to calculate it here because I don't want to overcomplicate stuff. If you are interested, you can Google it later. But when you try to measure the increased conversion and the company revenue, there's a formula for that that will help you to get the ROI. You can Google that later. And then those numbers, the ROI numbers, you can use that to explain to the stakeholders about your impact. This is
Yeah,
one of the example.
yeah.
So
So
when you're, sorry.
let me put something there. Sorry, let me put something there. So if you'd like to learn more about conversion rates and what they are really about, like the in-depth stuff, reach out to the community manager and ask request to join the inner group. And so these are the things that we are going to be expanding on. So questions that you have that does not really have like easy answer to find on Google, you definitely find it in the inner group. So um over to you, Steve.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you. Thank you. The next one is CAC. Um, I'll just explain this briefly, but you also can research about this yourself. CAC stands for Customer Acquisition Cost. What does this mean? So it means the total cost required to acquire a new customer, including marketing, sales, and UX investments. So when the UX is really great, then the acquisition cost or the CAC will decrease significantly because the effort the company needs to be done in order to acquire a new customer will be very low. Why? Because when a business, either their website or their app, their product is really good, the users will become the marketing itself. Because imagine if like Adebimpe creating an app, the app is so good, eventually you will tell your friends about the app. Hey, look, this app is so incredible. You have to try, right? And then all of a sudden, it will become a ripple effect because like you will start to tell your friends will tell other friends that they have, and then that what makes the CAC cost lower when you have a better UX for your app. But in contrary, if the app is bad and nobody wants to use it, it will also have a ripple effect. They will tell their friends or your friends that, hey guys, this app is so bad, never use it. And eventually the CAC will also increase. So in this case, you can always use CAC as one of the core metrics that you can tell the stakeholders or your clients that you can influence. Of course, this is something that you cannot directly impacting, but you can convince your clients or your leads that this is something that you can influence. Okay, so next time you um, find a leads or someone that want to get a design from you, start to speak the business language, which you will bring this kind of metrics to them during the discussion, like, hey, mister, or like, hey, madam, actually, my design can influence, not changing, but influence the CAC of your business. If I make your website better, or like if I make your app better, then you can reduce your CAC. I cannot guarantee it will happen immediately, but with my great design, it will eventually happen along the way. You can say something like that. So that's one of a pitch that you can use when you try to sell something. Um, the next one is NPS. This one is a bit tricky because not so many business doing this, but once the business getting more mature, this become a common thing. So NPS stands for Net Promoter Score. Um, like I mentioned earlier, when Adebimpe creating a very great app and people start to promote it, this is where the NPS come into play. So the scale usually being used is like minus 100 when the product is so bad, nobody wants to use it, or plus 100, which is like the app is so good, a lot of people use it, a lot of people talking about it. So this is one of the metrics that tricky to measure, but very interesting and well worth to bring into the discussion when you are about to close a deal with a client. Try to bring this term, the NPS, into the table when you discuss. So imagine if a client like asking you about why I should work with you. Oh yeah, mister, of course, because when you work with me, in the long run, I can guarantee you, this is dangerous word, but you can use this as your pitch. I can guarantee you that the NPS score of your business will increase because with the great design that I deliver to you, the app will become much better. And when your app become much better, more people will use it and more people will promote it. Somewhere along that line. And then the next thing is about marketing stuff, which is engagement metrics. I think if you guys are active on Twitter, you will also realize the term of engagement farming. So, when it comes to marketing, one of the crucial metrics is engagement. And that is why your design, when it's engaging, it will bring a lot of likes, a lot of attention. So, other thing that you can bring to the table when you are about to close a deal with a client, or like when you are getting interviewed by someone in the company, when you apply for a job, um I think that's not relevant because this is more like a business and you're about to become a freelance, is that I can bring your design to the next level, making it better. So then like it's more engaging. What you can explain further is that engaging means like more people want to see the website, more people want to see the digital product. Yeah, that's something that you can bring to the discussion from now onward. Okay, I'll take a brief pause here. Maybe like Adebimpe want to moderate a bit about the stuff that being thrown at YouTube, or I can just continue. Let me
Yes.
know.
Thank you very much. So I'm just gonna do a quick recap of everything Steve have said so far. Before we go to the next point, and I'll also be bringing Felix so that we can have a a discussion about what Steve has said so far. Felix, are you on the call?
Yeah, I'm here. You can go first, but I'm here.
No, no, no. Show your face now.
Okay. Sorry.
Okay. So, what do you think is the most insightful thing you've gotten from what Steve has said so far?
Okay. One of the most insightful thing I can state about is the sorry. Hello. Can you hear me?
Yeah, 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 yeah. I can hear
Okay.
you.
So one of the key thing I can say about is, for example, when it comes to design it's a thing that actually solve a lot of problem. For
Hmm?
example, coming from the aspect of Spotify and Airbnb, because I've actually also read the story of how they started, how they struggled about their distance, but when they make this significant change in their business, they actually see the effect, like understand their user, putting in AI and a lot of stuff like that. So design is here to stay. And design is the language that we release that we solve a lot of problem in many industries. So those are the things I can say is still very, very prominent to me, and I understand from what you said.
Yes, yes, that's totally correct. What actually fascinated me was the fact that in order for you to be a successful designer, you need to be able to speak business language. It's very important. I see a lot of designers when you ask them, what do you do? Okay, why how did you arrive at this idea? Why did you arrive at this solution? Even if it's intuition based, like you must add your intuition to real world elements in terms of data, or in terms of uh analytics. Very, very important that you do that, so that when you do that now, you'll be able to communicate better. How you able to arrive at the design in such a way that you can get a buy-in from the business stakeholder, because once you have a buy-in from the business stakeholder, then it will be something that will be very interesting to hear, and they'll even be willing to give you more business. And then still went on to talk about, like, now that you already have an idea of how to speak the business language, right? Where do you find these people? And one of the easiest way to finding them is by going to Twitter or other social media handles, right? And the way you do it is such that you are not literally going to go and make them to look for you. You are going to be posting your works online so that they can easily find you. And the more refined and more quality, or more attractive the work is, then the easier you'll be able to get clients. It may not be immediate, but over time it's going to be like a ripple effect, just like the Opal company. It's going to be like a ripple effect where you start getting a lot of engagement, and you be even increasing your numbers and increasing how much you charge clients. So that is where we are at now. So for example, in the case where you need serious feedback about your design, right? Make sure you join the inner room. You are going to be getting feedbacks about your design before you post online, so that when you post online, you can guarantee that okay, you start building up engagement that way. Okay. So Felix, do you have any questions for me or Steve before we continue?
No,
And
it's
then
all
also
good.
throwing the
I don't
question
I don't know
to
if we have any question on the YouTube
no, that
channel. Let me check.
if you guys have questions on the channel, please um make sure you post. So Steve, somebody posted here said between LinkedIn and Twitter, which one should one learn or which one should one use more? I think that was
YouTube
that
channel. Let me check.
if you guys have questions on
Um,
the channel, please um make sure you post. So Steve, somebody posted here said between LinkedIn and Twitter, which one should one learn or which one should one use more? I think that was
YouTube
that.
channel. Let me check.
You guys have
um,
questions, can you use your mic? Um make sure you post. So Steve, somebody posted here said between LinkedIn and Twitter, can you mute your mic? Which one should one? Okay.
okay. I think I'll answer that question first. LinkedIn and Twitter, that's $1 million questions, I guess. Like many people ask that, and I'm quite biased here because Twitter is really working for me. But there are a lot of people also find a lot of clients from LinkedIn. So with that being said, what I can say is that try to be consistent to post on both platforms at least 90 days. Okay. So you need to task both of them, post the same stuff on both platforms. So you don't need to, you know, overthinking it. Like whatever you post on Twitter, post it as well on LinkedIn and see what happens. And after 90 days, again, I said 90 days, not 30 days, then you will see which one bring you more result. And from there, you can decide, okay, I need to focus on Twitter or I need to focus on LinkedIn. So everyone's experience is unique, and I cannot advocate that, oh, you need to go all in into Twitter, but then uh turns out like it doesn't work for you, and then you will tweet to me, hey Steve, I follow your suggestion and it doesn't work. You are a fraud, you know. So
Yeah,
yeah, what I say is that just try to post on both platform for at least 90 days, and then you can decide which one you want to focus more on. Yeah, I
yeah.
think that's the answer.
So the next person here said, Adepoju Samuel said, what's your approach when reaching out to clients on Twitter or on X?
Okay, that's a nice question. Back in the days when I started to post on Twitter, I try like it's not like 10, not even 10, but it's like 4 or 5. I try to do outreach, if that what you mean, approach reaching out to clients,
Yeah,
and it doesn't work because when you look at Twitter, a lot of people making fun of cold DMs. So cold DMs doesn't work at all on Twitter. It might work on LinkedIn, but on Twitter, it's a big no-no. So the approach is don't do it. So Adepoju, my suggestion is that never do outreach on Twitter. That's based on me. But if you want to do it, you might want to do it. Give it a go. But based on my experience, it doesn't work. Akbelusi also asked, can I use Instagram to get clients too? Yes. You can use it, and if it works for you, that's great. But for me, it doesn't work because my Instagram is a mess. So it doesn't really bring any professional vibe. So yeah, it really depends on how you build your persona at the platform. Okay. Um, shall I continue to the next point? and then we can have Q&A later on again. Adebimpe, what do you think?
What? What?
Should we continue to the next topic?
No, no, not yet. So I just want to
Okay.
introduce the one of the founders of Ripple, Olarinde. So Olarinde, I think you have the floor.
Awesome, awesome. Thanks a lot, Adebinkwe.
We cannot see you. Okay. We cannot see you because like the light is at your back. Maybe you want to change like your angle. Yes. So while Ola is trying to get ready, you guys can still post your questions. Okay, Steve, I think I should take this one. Say, do you caption your post in a particular style or just 90 days challenge works just fine? I think that question is for you, Steve.
Okay, I'll try to answer the other question. How can
Yes.
you identify potential clients? Um, I'm not sure I'm getting it correctly, but I'll try to educated guess what
Yeah.
this means. I think to identify potential clients, you have the decision yourself what kind of client you want to attract actually. So I'll just give one example. AI is everywhere nowadays. So it's one of the easiest niche that you can target. So you can try to be really specific with your profile. Like I'm a design partner for AI founders or like AI startups, for example. Then you start to post design related to AI, the SaaS, the product design, the mobile app, the website. Post it consistently, like I mentioned, 90 days, and you will see that eventually people that you are targeting will become your potential clients. So instead of us identifying who are the potential clients, we decide who are the potential clients. I hope that answer your question. Um, the next following question is from Adepoju. Do you caption your post in a particular style or just doing 90 days challenge works just fine? Um, take my answer with a grain of salt because it might work or might not work on your case. But in my experience, I caption it very short on Twitter because I started to realize the shorter the caption, the better the engagement somehow. It's on Twitter, but on the other platform, I don't know. So for example, when I try to post a dashboard design, I just say like a crypto dashboard. Um, and then that's it. I post it and the engagement is better rather than when I try to make it like very long form. It doesn't really work. I guess it's because people don't really like to read, at least on Twitter. But I think the case will be different on LinkedIn because I found that people only in tend to attract more on long form post.
Yeah. So Adepoju Samuel said, to buttress my question, I mean, do you use specific hashtags or leverage keywords? For
Yeah.
Twitter, no hashtag, avoid it. Avoid
Okay.
hashtag like a plague. Because the more hashtag you post, the more you get deranked. So so avoid hashtags on Twitter. You can try it on LinkedIn, Instagram, but if you are using if you know you want to work with X, please avoid hashtag, avoid which other one again? Like putting all caps. Avoid it too. The more you do all of those things, the more the algorithm ranks your post. So is Ripple ready for us now? Allah?
Yes. Is it better now?
Yes, better now. Yes, better.
Okay.
Way better.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's better now.
Awesome. Awesome. Hi guys. My name is Allah, and the co-founder at Triple. Triple, yeah, freelancers to be able to receive payments from their employers globally, right? So you can easily create multi-currency wallets on our platform, USD wallets, pounds, euros, Canadian, right? And also Nigerian Naira wallets on our platform where you're able to convert these foreign currencies to local currencies on our platform, right? Um, I mean, yeah, we're available across Nigeria, right? And the apps are on the Google Play Store and the um, iOS store as well, right? I mean, that's what we do in a nutshell, isn't it? And we also have a community where we also like upskill or aid in upskilling freelancers as well, right? And basically just to have a kind of community to just help them to be able to like become better persons, right? And also um, network among themselves, isn't it? Right. So, I mean, if there are any questions on what we do and how we do it, I mean, we can put it in the chat. I also have, I think I got some feedback around um, around the sign up, all right, or the onboarding from some people, right? So if there are any questions, you can put it in the chat and I attend to it, right? Yeah, so Uri, I think this is the fourth session we've been having, right, in the past few weeks, or should I say in the past 2 months, isn't it? And it's been interesting so far, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, according to our leaders here, right, and our conveners, we have some very special people that have been working with us in the past 4 weeks, right? So they've been doing so well in terms of contributing, in terms of coming for these meetings, and in terms of even trying to like, I mean, be better persons, right? Attending to assignments and all of that, right? So we have 5 lucky winners today that I'm going to be announcing very shortly, right? I mean, these people have been excellent, they've been awesome, and I believe they will be outstanding product designers within the next few months and, and years, right? So I'm
Yeah.
going to be saying their names right now. Um, the first person who is going to be winning just a small voucher of $10 on our platform, right? So basically, this how you just claim this voucher is you just sign up on Ripple, right? Just download the app on the Google Play Store or the iOS store, right? And just, I mean, on board, put in your information and um, write in the app, your voucher will be waiting for you, isn't it? So, um, and definitely if you have any issues with sign up or onboarding, you can always reach out to us at support at repo.ai, support at reeple.ai. Definitely will be reaching out to you as well. Just after this meeting, right? To just, I mean, provide you this information I said, or I'm mentioning right now, and you'll be able to follow it and on board. So yeah, first lucky winner for today is going to be winning $10 voucher on our platform is Kende only. That's Kende only. And awesome. Congratulations, Kende. Second would be Fadugba Deborah. The third, who has been outstanding as well, is Damilare Somi Thomas. Hooray. Congratulations, Dami. The fourth person is Ugu Chukwuebuka Emmanuel. Congratulations, Ugu.
And the
And
last but not the least, drum roll.
yeah, yeah. I mean, if this is a physical meeting, definitely we'll have a lot of drum rolls here, right? Yeah. So the fifth and not the least, right, is Joy Amarachi Nadoze. Congratulations, Joy. So yeah,
Okay.
definitely we'll be reaching out to you after this meeting on how to claim this voucher, right? Steps to onboard on the platform And yeah, I mean, if you have any issues, as I mentioned earlier, you can always reach out to us on support@ripple.ai. Right. So I'm not sure if there are any questions. Ade, Felix, if there are any questions, I'm available to attend to it within the next 5 minutes
Yeah.
before
So
we go live.
and my question is this, like in case people, so that in case they did not hear very well, like if they have any issue trying to sign up on board, reach out to Ripple. Where is the best place to reach out to Ripple? Just one more
Oh yeah,
time.
so you can reach out to us via email, right? That's at support@ripple.ai, right? And definitely you can reach out to us on across all social media channels as well. Instagram at ripple.ai, Twitter at ripple.ai, Facebook as well, ripple.ai, and even LinkedIn as well, right? We are Ripple on LinkedIn, right? So we are quite responsive across our platforms, and definitely when you come on our platform as well, you see other channels. But I mean, majorly, I mean, the simplest ones for you guys would be support@ripple.ai, right?
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you very much. So Steve, are you done with coffee break? Oh, no, no, don't worry. Just give us 4 more minutes and then we'll just talk about every other thing we want to talk about. So, Felix, any other announcements before we
Okay,
go on?
well, I don't think there's any for now. I just want to say a big shout out to Ripple for this, for being a sponsor, and Freeman Dojo, but we'll get to Freeman Dojo later. So thank you a lot, Ripple. Thanks for your support. Thanks for reaching out in everything that we've done so far. We really appreciate you. Thank you very much. So once again, if anybody have any, what's it called, question about Ripple, you can reach out to their support, even to myself. I can get information that you need. Yeah, thank you. So we can continue from where we stopped.
Thank you very much.
Thank you
So,
so much, guys.
thank you so
Yeah,
much,
thank you.
Alarinde. Nice. See you later. Cheers. Okay, so now back to more announcement. Is the information getting to me now is that though there's no flyer for it yet, but Prima Dojo is bringing a specified class because we understand that now you've gone through the process of what is UX and what is business, how to understand business, right? And the next thing now is what you need is an award-winning portfolio. Because it's not enough to just get clients. Clients are going to say, okay, we've seen your post online, we like it, but you want an awarding winning portfolio. So in the next class, which is not this next Saturday, but that will be the 22nd of February, we're going to be dropping the flyer for people in the group. So make sure that if you want more people to attend that group and attend the program, make sure you invite as much people to join the group, right? And the first set of people that will have access to the seats is obviously people in the inner group. So with that being said, what that means is that you are going to be learning on the 22nd of February how to design an award-winning website where you can showcase it to people, not just a website that you can tell people that this is a award-winning related website. We are actually going to be bringing someone who has actually won award for his own portfolio website, literally for his own portfolio website, so that you guys can learn from this person on how to make sure that you can what's it called, on how to make sure that you can design your portfolio to literally get an award and you can post it on social to even build more um engagement. So also apart from the inner group, we have affiliate programs, right? If you want to learn more about the affiliate programs for Freema Dojo, please reach out to the community manager. Make sure you join the group. Freema Dojo will post the number that you can always reach out to. That phone number, will just add them on WhatsApp and you'll be able to reach out to them easily, and you will learn more about the affiliate program. We Then the last but not the least is if you want to know more about the inner group one more time, it's more about learning. We are going to be reviewing your portfolio. We are going to be having discussion around how you can build your design, and then we're also going to be curating specified classes, right, based on your own particular needs. So is a what's it called? Is a it's a design class that is based on your design on your own personal need. And that's one of the advantage of joining the inner group, so that, and again, you also get to have relate with peers that is also like practically almost on your level or above your level, so that everybody is able to relate and inform from each other. And people that grow together are people that make sure that they are always in the same community, they are very active, and they are always trying to push or make the best out of each other. So make sure that you join the inner group, so that you can take advantage of that. To learn more about joining the inner group, again, the community manager has posted the phone number you can reach out to on WhatsApp. So Steve, thank you for our coffee break. Over to you.
Thank you. Um, so just to quickly recap, maybe some of you doesn't join yet. So I've been already sharing all the stuff of things when it comes to why business matters in UX. Maybe you can replay later in for the YouTube one, and then I'll continue to the second part, which is the client and stakeholder management. Um, I think I already covered this as well, but I'll just like quickly share this part as well. So all of the design decisions that we made when we're designing in Figma, it will be meaningless if we don't translate it into business language. So this is a very crucial part for you as a designer. When you try to explain your design, you don't explain it as in like, oh, this typography is really good, this color is really good because blah 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 blah. But instead, when you try to explain your design, you need to make sure the stakeholders or the decision maker for the design that you made should understand it from a business point of view. So that's why you need to speak their language, not our language as designer. You need to speak their language so then like they have the full understanding of the design details, why you make this part this way, because it will impact the business this way. You need to bring it into that narrative, because otherwise your design decision or like the design that you made most likely won't make any sense to them unless you bring the design into business language. So for example, in this case, I'll bring two. The first one is that when you try to revamp the onboarding flow of a mobile app and you change it in a certain way, you need to mention that you, for example, you already like have past clients, and then you bring or adapt the same UX approach. Um, you can mention like this onboarding flow will reduce the drop-off rate by 20%. I already implement this somewhere else, and most likely it will also happen here. And by doing that, it will improve the user retention and increasing the sign-ups. Those are the things that you can explain when you try to um, bring a new onboarding flow. This is just one of the example. And then the other thing is that when you try to revamp a website of a client, um, and you have the opportunity not just trying to make the website pretty, but on top of that, you need to also make the website navigation really easy to use. Why? Because eventually a website needs to be able to explain the business clearly, and the website needs to have a very clear navigation. Imagine if you visit a website and you don't know how to navigate, eventually you will leave that website. So make sure that when you try to get a client, you need to bring this kind of stuff or like this kind of language to them. Like, hey, I think your website navigation can be optimized. When I optimize your website navigation, I'm sure I can influence the bounce rates. I can make or like I can reduce the bounce rates into a certain extent. And over time, when you already like have several clients, then you can bring all the past data that you have from your past clients into the table when you are about to close another deal with another client.
Yeah,
But
thank you for
if
that,
oh
Steve.
yeah, okay,
So
sure,
you
sure.
mentioned they can reduce the bounce rate. So can you expand on what bounce rate is so that they can fully understand what
Oh
we are
yeah,
talking?
okay,
Yes.
for sure. So bounce rate, like the word itself, bounce, like bouncing, meaning like they arrive and then they immediately go outside of the website, meaning like they leaving. So that's bounce. And rates, meaning like it's counted in percentage. So for example, if the bounce rate is 20%, so imagine 100 visitors go to the website, 20 of them leaving the website immediately. They arrive and then they think like, oh shit, the website looks terrible, and then they immediately close the tab. That's bounce rate. Okay, I think I'll continue. The next thing about managing a client or stakeholders is you need to create a persuasive presentations, especially for the non-design stakeholders. Because when you try to convince your client, try to get a client because like they are still a lead, and you need to make a proposal to convince them to work with you, you need to make your presentations persuasive, right? You cannot just like um throw your Figma file to them, like give the link, here's the link, or like giving the portfolio link to your client and then say, here is my passwords. That doesn't feels warm. That doesn't feels good. Imagine if you are like trying to find someone to work with and then like all they do is just like throwing you a link and this is like asking you to just um, looking at it by yourself, that doesn't really convincing. So sometimes it's truly necessary for you to create a persuasive presentations to get the client or like convince the client that your work is really answering their problems. So I'll just go quickly through the key things that you need to have when you create a sorry persuasive presentation. There are three things here. The first one is problem statement. So you need to clearly state what are the problem that you are trying to solve with your design. The second one, of course, the design solution. So after you mention the problems, you also need to mention what are the solutions for each of those problems. So you need to connect them. And then eventually business impact. So after you state the problem, you mention the solution, and then the last thing that you need to do is that you need to give the hypothesis how those solution that you bring to the table will bring impact to the business. And then you can like rewatch the video if you haven't, like if you missed it, like how Airbnb and Spotify, how the problems are exist, what are the UX solutions being provided, and how is the impact to the business. So those are like the framework that you can use to create a persuasive presentation for the non-designer stakeholders. All in all, what they care about is like, do you understand their problems? What kind of solutions you bring to the table to solve those problems? And they also need to understand if you actually understand if your solution will bring direct or indirect correlation to the business. Okay, now I'm continuing. There are several stakeholders that you will facing down the line when you work with a company, but it can boil down into three kind of people. The first one is product managers, if they have. The second one is executives. Executives is basically the C level, either it's as the CEO, CTO, whoever that is, and eventually the marketing teams if they have it. If you work with a very small business that just getting started, most likely you will just like working with the executives. So all of them have a different um area or like different way to be convinced. So when you speak to product managers, you need to focus the communication to make sure that the design that you made align with the product goals that they already make. And you also need to mention or emphasis on the improvement on the user experience aspect, because product managers care less about the business metrics. It doesn't mean they don't care at all, but like they care less, but they care more about the goals that they already made for the product. So when you speak to product managers, you need to speak on the favor of what they care about. And when it comes to the executives, you need to bring more language about the business impacts. That's like very obvious already. And then the third part is that when you speak with the marketing teams, you need to speak their language as well. So you need to bring to the table the data about engagement and brand awareness, and they will love your design immediately. So always use the appropriate language towards a specific stakeholders. That's my tips here. And then the next thing, when you try to get a client or try to convince the client that your design will solve their problems, is that you need to bring it with confidence. This is cliche, I know, but this is super important, because if you don't believe in yourself, in your solutions, and of course, nobody else will believe in you as well. Okay, so the key for this is two things. Let me drink some water first. Wait, is you need to be prepared. So when you try to make a presentation or you want to make a pitch, you need to be prepared. So you need to make some sort of like a pitch practice. Do it as many times as possible to make sure that you are confident, because the key here is you need to be really confident when you try to pitch to the leads or clients. And the second thing that you need to consider, or like you need to be well prepared about, is handling objections. um Most of the time, the stakeholders will have objections, like you bring solution A but they think it's not good, and then they try to um challenge the idea, but it doesn't mean they want to do any harm to you, but more towards like they want to make sure that you are well prepared for what you are proposing. So in order for you to be able to handle this properly, you need to bring scenarios, as in you will eventually realize that your design decision will have objections or like challenges, and then you need to prepare all of the answers for any kind of questions that they might have. So when you are being prepared and you are also preparing yourself to handle objections, it will significantly boost your confidence as well. So here's the key takeaways for the effective communications. There are four. The first one, you need to speak the language of business in order for your design decision to be able to be go through to the stakeholders and get buy-in. And then the second one is that you need to tailor your message to your audience. Speak the language of the product manager if you present to them. Speak the language of executives if you present to them. Executives means CEO, CTO, all those C levels. And speak the language of marketers if you speak to the marketing manager. Also, when you try to bring your communication, because you are a designer, make sure that you also use data and visuals. So when you try to bring your design decisions, if possible, bring clear data and visualize it with what is it called, like infographics. Yeah. And the last thing, which is like it's quite obvious but cliche as well, is that you need to be really clear when you try to communicate, and you need to be really confident as well. Okay, I'll take a pause here. Maybe like Adebimpe want to make some sort of like another short coffee break before we move to one of the big nuggets here, which is negotiation and scope management.
Thank you very much for that, Steve. Much appreciated. So, if you are just catching up or you are not really following, let me just take this as a simple walkthrough. So, somebody may ask a question like, if I don't even know the person I want to go and speak to, or I don't know, maybe it's going to be an ambush, because I've seen myself in many rooms where I know that I want to go and pitch to this business, but I soon find out that when I get there, I'm inside a different setting entirely, right? Maybe initially I prepare my slide for only just CEOs, and then I get there, the CEOs are not available, but they just told like maybe they are product managers to come in, right? So what do I do? So this is the arc, right? The easy arc is make sure that you prepare your slide to speak literally the major moving part of a company, right? And then always try and find out or do research about who are going to be the key decision makers for your project, okay? And even one thing I always put forward is when I get to those meetings, right, I make sure that each and every one of them introduces themselves and their position. So once I hear the aggregate of their positions, right, I can quickly skip what I feel is not necessary for them, right, and go straight to the point to what is necessary for them based off of their position, right? Because some people feel like when they are doing pitches or they are doing presentation, it should be like a step-by-step process. No, it's not necessary. It doesn't necessarily have to be a step-by-step process. What you need to just do is make sure that your slide is prepared such that if you are talking to CEO, you can literally point out like one or two or three slides that is going to just show that idea. If you are talking to product managers, make sure you have like one or two or three slides that showcases what product managers are expecting. If you are going to be talking to a technical team, you want to make sure that you have one or two or three slides that shows that technical part. So now, if they now have like multiple combinations of this kind of people within a room and you are in that pitch, you just go through it now step by step, starting from the key decision maker all the way to the least person that you know that is will most likely consider you to buy. Even though you literally consider the least person as the decision maker. So that's why I always try to like throw this like a joke before I start, but a lot of people don't catch it. But what I usually used to do is to just know the exact person I literally need to speak to, despite talking to everybody in that conversation. And the tip is this: I will just say, show a just give me a show of hands if you are going to make a decision today, right, about me or based on the presentation I'm about to have. And you most likely see some people will raise hands or some people will not answer you. So you always want to spot out the person that does not raise their hand at all. One of them is literally going to be the key decision maker before you now make them to present themselves, and then you have that at the back of your mind before you proceed with your meetings, right, or your pitch with the said client. So let me check the YouTube session whether there's someone asking a question here. So the person said, please, do we have access to this particular slide? I don't know yet. I have to request permission from Steve as well as the Framer Dojo community. So we'll give you information about that after the call. And then somebody said, is Ripple available on Windows? So you cannot download Ripple on your Windows machine, but you can do that. You can go to the website www.ripple.ai to and then sign up or sign in depending on where you are coming from to have access to that. Okay, so what we've been talking about so far so good has been all about talking to clients, right? And now let's say you are done talking with your client. Now it's now about to talk about money, right? You've got into the most interesting part of this program. Okay, so you want to talk about money. How do you make sure that people pay pay you or people do not pay you, right? And how do you agree on a price or the amount of project that you are meant to do? Okay, so Steve is going to be introducing us to negotiation tactics as well as understanding scope management, such that we become masters of conversations when talking to clients. So, Steve, over to you.
Thank you, Adebimpe. I'll continue then. So first thing first, I think you already know what is scope, and then you already know budget. I don't need to explain that, so I'll just bring you the hot takes here, which is like you know the scope creep is going to be happen or bound to be happening if you are not aware about it, and how you can set a healthy boundaries for your project.
Uh,
Um,
let me cut you there. What is scope creep?
okay. Scope creep is basically you already have like a checklist with your client of the deliverables.
Mm-hmm.
Like you have like originally 3 items, and then all of a sudden, like the client try to trick you, quote unquote, like, hey, I think this part also part of the scope, and then like you are not aware, and then you eventually think, if I don't take this, the client might run away and will not pay me. And then all of a sudden, your checklist from 3 increase into 6. It happens. So, scope creep happens when the project requirements expand without adjusting the timeline or budget. That's the definition. So, what is the risk happening here when scope creep is happening? The first one, of course, delays. When you predict like this project will be finished in 10 days, and all of a sudden it becomes 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, and all of a sudden that project become a yearly project from 10 days. Like, why am I still working with this client for a year? It happens. you know because you are not stating clearly how's the scope, like how's the timeline. So that's what's happening when you are not making the clear boundaries. And the second one, of course, budget overruns. Imagine 10 days project now become a year. How are you going to pay your bills with that kind of project? Of course, that's not healthy. And then eventually when you have team, it will also cause burnout for your team, but more on that later. So, how to handle that? How to prevent scope creep? How to make sure that your checklist from 3 not expanding into 6, 9, or whatever? Okay, there are 3 key things here. The first one that you need to do is clear scope definition. How we can make the scope as clear as possible is that we need to make a clear alignment with the client about first the deliverables, what you need to deliver. Second, timelines, how long does it will take? And then the expectations, when something is going to be delivered. So for example, you have 3 things and the timeline is 10 days. The first item maybe needs to be delivered in the third days, the second item on the fifth days, and the third item on the 10 days. So you need to state that clearly in the contract if you have contract, and make sure that both parties agree, align, and written clearly inside a contract, or maybe if they don't want to have a contract, just like take a clear screenshot when they said, do you agree with this? And they said, yes, I agree. Screenshot that, because the chances are if you dealing with them on WhatsApp or maybe Telegram, they can delete their chat. So when you try to bring that, and then they said, I never said that, because they already delete the chat, then you can bring the screenshot. Bam! You said this earlier. Don't try to play with me. No, no, don't say that. But in a way, just state to them that we already agreed on this. In case along the way they try to you know, quote unquote trick you. And then the second one, like I said, you need to create milestones. Um, Sometimes we think that when we do a project, we just need to work on all of them and deliver everything all at once at the end. That's not how it works. The client will not love that, so that you need to have milestones. Even better if you can like create a clear milestone in daily basis. So for example, if you like have a timeline of 10 days, you need to distribute the checkpoint every single day. So every day you can like fit your client with something. You can give something to them in daily basis. That's going to make the relationship works really well. And then that's going to the third part, which is like communicate regularly. So sometimes people think like, oh yeah, I get the deal, I get the project, and then I'll just like communicate with the client once everything is finished. No, that's not how it works. You need to be able to communicate with them in daily basis. Staying in touch regularly every single day really makes the relationship between you and the client works really well. um okay. And then handling scope creep. Eventually, if you already figure everything out, you try to follow all of those things to prevent it. Sometimes scope creep still happen, you know. Sometimes scope creep still happens, but what you need to do is that you need to be aware if that is scope creep, if that is increasing the work that you need to do. So when that happens, you need to be aware about it. So there are two things here. The first one is you need to evaluate the request from the client. If originally they ask only three things and all of a sudden it becomes four, you need to evaluate the request. Is it minor and or major? If minor, I think ethically you just accept it anyway without adding extra cost. It will make them happier. But if it's major, you have the rights to make that as an extra scope. Hey, I think this is out of the scope. You need to pay more if you want, but if you don't want to pay more, we can just stay in the original scope. And then after all those negotiations happening, you need to also document the changes. So when the scope creep happening, you need to also make sure that those are being documented properly. If it's happening in the chat, screenshot the chat, put it into the contract or anyhow you want it to be, but make sure that it's being documented properly somewhere, either in Google Docs or directly inside the Figma as well. So you have a solid proof when it's being stated or agreed that this is a scope creep. And then I think this part is already being explained, but I'll explain it as well. Sometimes when we do like the discussion of a scope creep, it might like get into a little or big debate with the client depending on the client characteristic. But you need to make sure that it's not going to be personal, as in like you need to always bring the discussion to business impact. That's the first one. And the second one is that you need to be empathetic and collaborative. So when scope creep happening, sometimes it means more work for you and also more money, as long as things are being clearly stated. So you need to be empathetic and you need to have the mindset that you want to be helpful and you want to make this collaboration works well. So those are the things that you need to be aware of when scope creeps is happening. It's not always about a bad thing, but you just need to be aware that the scope creep is happening and handle it properly. Okay, do I continue straight to this part, Adebimpe, or we want to pause once more?
Yeah, let's pause a bit. So just to go over it, or let me just ask you a question. Like, so how do you do um are there any negotiation tactics or cheat sheets that you can give us in order to like get a buy-in from the customer? That's the first question. And then for the second question is, um you've talked about like scope creep and how to avoid them. Is there any other like basic outlines that we can use in order to like, or tools, basic tools that we can use in order to itemize anything that may look like scope creep while planning to um embark on that project?
Okay, can you recall the first question again? I'll try to answer it one by one.
Okay. So the first question says, or let me try and rephrase the because the two questions, they are almost the same, right? So let me just try and rephrase it correctly. So what I'm trying to say is like, what are the negotiation tactics that one might use as a freelancer to get a buy-in from the clients? Can we start with that first?
Okay, so um, when we try to negotiate, and then we want to get the buy-in, it's always important to focus on three things. The first one is about um, how we can make sure that whatever we propose will help them to grow in their business.
Mm-hmm.
That's where the part that really will make the business owner think like they want to work with you because you understand that you understand their business. That's the first one. The second one is more about how you make the narrative, how you try to communicate. So you need to make that you are not selling, but more towards that you want to help them. So the structure of how you communicate is that, okay, I'm willing to help you. I'm going to make sure that blah 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 blah. How's the correlation between their needs, your solutions, and how it's going to impact their business? And then you bring price at the end, and avoid to bring price as well if they don't ask in the first place. Okay, never ever bring price if they don't ask. That's the other tactics that you can use. So you just make sure that the communication is more about being helpful, and then they will ask eventually how much does it cost, and then you bring the price. So don't um try to reverse the order like, oh okay, for that I'll charge you 2000 USD, for example. All of a sudden you bring price, but you don't really explain why it cost that much. You don't really explain the solutions to them. That's the second thing. And then the third one, when we try to communicate, is all about being friendly as well. Okay, so don't be rigid. Try to treat your leads or clients as a fellow human being. They are not robot. They are not, different level of human. They are the same like us. So communicate clearly, just like how you communicate with your friends. But you also need to understand the boundaries of common sense. Like, not all of a sudden you try to make a joke with them or like asking irrelevant questions like, how are you, have you eat, that kind of stuff. I believe you already know that kind of things. So those are the three things that I can share as the
Yeah.
tactics.
Yeah, that's yeah, an awesome answer. So I'm sure that people are getting a lot of value from this um information, right? Again, I'm gonna reiterate is, once you've gathered all this knowledge, now the next thing you need is an award-winning portfolio, right? And the award-winning portfolio class will be coming up on the, is that 22nd or 15th? Let me check. Yeah, so it's going to be coming up on the 22nd of February right? So you get the link in the community. If you are just watching this video maybe from another source entirely, you can see the phone number of the try to check the chat section to find the phone number of the Framer Dojo community person there. Make sure you chat them up, right? And they will give you all the necessary information so that you can attend that particular program. Okay. So also apart from that, if you'd like to learn more about our affiliate program, make sure you check that section. All right.
And
So
sorry, and sorry, 1 minute. And also, if you join the portfolio class, when you design your own portfolio, when you are done with it, we also help you do some review just to give you more guidance if you have any correction and adjustment that we think will help you and everything that is necessary. Yeah.
totally. Thank you very much for that, Felix. So, Steve, I think we are ready for the third session.
Okay. I think this is also the most important part, which is pricing and budgeting basics. Um, so freelance and in-house economics. I believe most of you here, I don't know, I'm just like guessing, would be more interested to become a freelance. But maybe some of you
No,
also want to become
actually,
in-house.
freelance or get a job in UX design,
Yeah, for
so
sure.
or work for agencies. So those are the possible places that some people have actually noted out that they would like to be in.
Okay, for sure. So the first one about freelance pricing, it boils down into two options in here if you are just getting started. The first one is, of course, the hourly pricing. I think this is a very common practice. But this is very tricky to begin with because you are basically getting punished if you work fast. Imagine you make a website. In order for you to get more money, is that you need to make it as long as possible. And like if you try to make one page, when you try to make it hourly pricing, you will start to think on to make it as long as possible. Like, mm, if I make this one day and I just spend like 4 hours and my rate is like $30, oh, I'll just get only $120. That's too few. Maybe I need to make this 5 days and charge it like 4 by 5, so 20 hours. All of a sudden, those mechanisms become broken, right? Because like it doesn't make sense. If you work fast, people will pay you less. It's ridiculous to begin with. But at some point as well, this is something that more acceptable for some um clients. Like they insist to work in hourly pricing. So only do this if your client insists with our price or hourly pricing. Otherwise, you always incline to the second option, which is project-based pricing. So project-based pricing will works if you know how you can well define your project with clear deliverable, which is you need to make a proposal, you need to define the scope, you need to define the timeline, and you need to define the expectations. If you can do that correctly, then project base is the best approach for you if you are freelancing. And you can set the price comfortably based on your expertise, based on the market price as well. So in order for you to be able to give the correct pricing, you need to do some research as well, like how people charge basically in the market. Okay, now we move forward to the in-house roles. And when you are getting started, just make sure that you can find a workplace that can pay you enough for you to be able to live um in bare minimum, at least like you still can eat like 2 times a day, you can pay all of your bills, and then you are not going into debt. That's the first thing that you need to have, at least in the beginning of your career. But as you progress, you need to focus on two things. Um, you need to know your worth, which is you need to do some research of like the minimum payment for um, the position that you are applying for in your region, basically. And then you need to make sure that you are aware about that. So when the company offer you a deal, you need to make sure that the salary does not goes below that minimum wage. That's the first one. The second one is that when you um getting promotion, or like you are staying long enough inside the in-house roles, you have the rights to ask for uh you know pay promotion, like getting more salary. So in order for you to do that, you need to highlight your impact. So you can do that by emphasizing the ROI of your work, how the design that you made contributes towards the business, either on the upper funnel, which is the user engagement, or when they already use the app, which is the retention, or over time, like how that contribute towards the revenue growth. Okay, I think on this part is more like some sort of like a simulation. I'm not sure we have the time for this, but I'll leave it to Adebimpe to decide, are we going to do this or not.
No, let's just do it. Let's do it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Um, so when you try to make a proposal, um I'll let Adebimpe to determine like how many minutes we will spend on this. But we will take a practice to make a timeline here. So imagine if you um get a project, and then you need to make a clear timeline visualization. So what you need to do is that you take this as an example: research 2 weeks, design prototyping 3 weeks, testing 1 week. And now it's time for you to Google the example of timeline visualization and try to map this out by yourself. Depending on your situation, if you are able to do this, Adebimpe will decide like how many minutes um we will have to for you to practice to visualize the timeline based on this example.
Let me give you the project. So this is the project brief. I'm also going to drop it in the chat section now, so that you guys can follow along. So the project brief is, we have this website. The name of the website is let me see, ripple.ai. Okay, so let me share my screen. So we have this website here. It's ripple.ai. This website was actually designed by the first cohort of Framer Dojo, right? So now we want to do a redesign of this website. Okay, so your task now is, imagine we are Ripple and we've come to meet you, and we like your portfolio, we like what you are doing, and we've agreed on a set price. So your task now is to come up with a timeline to identify how you are going to go about just redesigning the home page of this website. So again, head over to www.ripple.ai, look through the website, right? And then come up with a timeline. So post the timeline. You can post the timeline in the WhatsApp group, in the Slack channels. Well, we are going to only do this for 20 to 30 minutes, right? I'm sorry, 20 minutes. So the timeline is 2:44 p.m. my time. So I'm guessing it should be Felix. What's the time now? Felix.
The time now, the time here In Nigeria, it should be 8:44. In my time, it's 7:44.
Okay. So
Yeah.
in so by what's it called now? By 9 what's it called? Yeah, no. Yeah, 8:44. So by 9 p.m. sharp, no, 9:05 p.m. sharp, we are going to make sure that we have done all our submission, and then we'll go to the next stage. Okay. So
Okay.
let me
Somebody is eating, I guess.
what? What did you say?
Somebody is eating.
You say?
I don't know, like I heard someone chewing something like
Okay.
Okay.
I think Felix is eating.
No, 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 not me. I'm not the one.
Felix, why are you eating? Everybody saying I. Yes, yes, we are live. We are just waiting. Make sure that we are waiting for you guys to work on what's it called now? We're waiting for you guys to work on the tax before we go to the next steps. Okay? Felix, what's one design joke that you've heard recently?
Recently,
Eh,
okay, okay. Um, if I can remember, I work freelancing, right? So I work on Fiverr. So I've done like couple of jobs, like some. Which type of job are you referring to? Is it helping business out? Is it from scratch? Is it adjustment? Because
no,
I
no,
have.
no, like a joke, like something funny, like while working with clients.
Oh,
Something you found funny while working with client, maybe in the course of negotiation, conversation, and so on and
okay,
so forth.
okay, okay. I think is it last week?
Okay,
Yeah.
Felix, give me a second. Let me answer Sani Thomas Rashid Damilare.
Okay.
Uh, said, please, can you explain again? So, what I said was go over to www.ripple.ai, right? And then come up with a timeline for how we are going to create a redesign for their website. So come up with a timeline how you are going to create a design for the website. You can post it in the chat here on YouTube, or you can also post it in the WhatsApp group, whichever one you like.
Ah.
Okay. So Felix, over to you.
Okay. There was a project. Someone, as I said earlier, I mostly work on Fiverr, which customer clients contact me. Okay, I want to do this, I want to do that. Some might come. Okay, they want to do what's it called? They want to do redesign of their website. Some might say they want a framer stuff like that. So the guy came to me, he brought a sample of what he has done. No, he brought a sample from Dribble. He said, yo, this is what I want to do. We talk, we discuss, okay, this is how I work. I do my design. After my design, I'm gonna send it to you based on your brief. If you have corrections, I'm gonna work on the corrections. Then before we move to Framer for development, because I do Figma design, also I do Framer development. Bro, when I talk, because most time I always love to hear what the clients have to offer based on their price, like what they want to pay, right? Or what's their budget like. Imagine someone that want to do Figma design from scratch and Figma development. He said his budget is $80. 80, like $80. For real, no jokes. 80. I was like, hold up. You kidding? It's like, yes, like, what does it work? I was like, okay, you know what? This is what I charge. And it was like, okay, what do you think about this? I never had any response anymore. Like, I never had anything anymore.
Very funny.
Bro,
Very.
$80 for website and framework development. Nah, man, it does not work that way. It does not work that way. Nah.
Steve, what about you? Funny jokes from clients, client conversation.
Um, I think one of the weirdest one is that the the project that um originally closed at 100K USD,
Yeah.
which I closed last year around November. Like, it involves a group, it's a holding company group. So 6 companies exist under one group. So like I'm facing 6 CEOs
Oh
and
wow.
6 CDOs,
Wow.
like design, and then one CCO, and then like they also have like 6 CDOs because like they are tech companies.
Okay.
So the 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 PIC, or like the representative, is this one person. And what I think is that when they said they have a deal, I believe all of them already agree, right?
Yeah.
Because okay, I want to work with you. I thought all of them want to work with me. The deal is being made. They make a down payment, like 25% of it.
Okay.
Bam, we did. They want to have like internal meetings, like end of the year evaluation, blah 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 blah.
Hmm.
So we are not working on December. So we want to start on January. And then all of a sudden, by the end of like December, like things are getting relaxed, and then bam, they come up with with a negotiation. Basically they want to downscope, like they reduce the check items, the checklist, and then they negotiate. Hey, if we reduce by removing this, can you reduce the pricing half of it
No,
to
sorry, but
50K? And then I was thinking, oh, this is weird. How come they want to do this? But when I assess the request, it makes sense to cut the pricing in half. So I give them the chance to negotiate, and we move forward. I assume that everything went well by then. And then early January, they reach out back, and then they said that they want to restructure the holding company. So half of the CEOs, which is like three, giving up their companies, giving up the ownership to the other three CEOs. I don't
Okay.
know how is that happening, but that all of a sudden they become two companies only from six.
Okay.
Three sold their ownership, but like what is happening between the rest of the three, I don't know. But they become just like two companies at the end
Yeah.
of the day. And then they said, can we negotiate further? I said no. We
No.
still we still agree on 50K. I don't want to reduce the pricing again. And then all of a sudden they make
Sorry, 1 minute. Ade,
Yeah.
they said, can you explain the task again? So that I think some people do not get what you tell them to do.
Yeah, I just explained again. So let me say it one more time. So first thing is go to www.ripple.ai. What we need you to do is study the website. So just take 5 minutes or 6 minutes. Study the website and try and come up with a timeline that is going to take you to redesign the entire website. So what we just need to do is just atomize a timeline. It's just something that you can just quickly type, right? Or these are the stuff that I want to do. I don't want to give you the answer, but like it's very very straightforward. Let me give you the most basic one, right? Yeah. So you say, okay,
You can
week
give
one,
them an heads up.
yeah, week one, I'm going to give you like a research, and then you build from there. So incrementally. So yeah, Steve, over to you.
okay. So ultimately they make weird requests. Basically, they started to negotiate. If we don't decrease the price, can you add a free 1 year maintenance of Webflow development?
What?
That's the first
One
one.
1 year maintenance.
1 year
Eh,
maintenance. A big red
no,
flag.
wait.
And the
For
second one,
50K, two
and then the
companies.
second one, the second one is that can I know the details of your team members?
Why?
I don't know. And then
No.
the third one, what they want is that can you help us with the marketing?
Ah,
And then and then
marketing
I said,
is different ball game entirely.
It's a
and then
different
I
body.
said, I think this is already too far. I'll just return back your down payment, and I don't want to work with you.
That's crazy.
Like
Uh,
1 year for free Webflow maintenance. And the word maintenance sounds so dangerous because chances are like any kind of changes will go into the scope of maintenance. So like it's a
I am
bad
I am I am
experience.
I am presently suffering for that right now. Like I have a client like that use the word maintenance. and then, and then I see myself doing UX redesign for them, and I'm like, no, this was not in my
Yeah, yeah.
my work
So
was just to make sure that your website is always up all the time, not me doing UX redesign, trying to redesign your landing pages and stuff. And then the lawyer is calling me back like, you signed it. I'm like, what? What did I say? So I think people here too should like they are going to get benefit from this conversation. It's like, please, if you is important to get jobs from client, but make sure that you are fully aware and you fully agree on what you are trying to sign up on, right? It's very important. Your integrity relies on it, all right? Because the more you continue to take weird clients, right, the more you suffer, right? And you will suffer a lot. I'm not saying pain is not good. Pain is good, but is there are some pains that you could actually avoid. So you should learn from us to avoid all these kind of pains. Okay, very very important. So we just have 5 more minutes for people to drop their post. So we are seeing people posting already in the Slack channel. You can post on the WhatsApp group, the Slack channel. You can also post here on the YouTube chat. Okay. So let me just read out what Samson posted. Okay, Samson said for him, if he's going to do a redesign, it's on the Slack channel. So he said he's going to do a redesign. He's going to do 2 weeks of research. He's going to use I think 1 week to do design and another week to prototype and test. I think Anita too has the same thing. The only difference is Anita said she's going to do us for 3 weeks. Then I like Boy Rush, very detailed. So he said for phase one, he divided into phases, right? And then for phase one, he said he's going to do discovery and planning in the first week. So day 1 to 3, which he further broke it down again, is that he's going to take stakeholder meetings and try and define goals, as well as understand who the target audiences are, and break all of those information he has gotten into key features. So it's going to even do further user research and a competitive analysis to further determine the actual user personas to deal with. Then on day 6 to day 7, is going to try to finalize the project brief and set expectations, right? So that it is not able to avoid scope scope creep, right? And to get approvals after that. So in the second week, which of that's phase 2, is going to go into design, where it's going to start with wireframe and interactive prototypes, so that it can easily get reviews from stakeholders. Then the next week is going to take that design and push it into high fidelity design, and thereby finalizing design element and ensure responsiveness across devices. Big, this is a very, very good answer. This is something I was expecting from Boyrosh. So it shows that Boyrosh has been attending the entire program. Okay, and then the third week is going to do handoff to developers, and this is going to take 2 weeks for him to design. So he's going to be doing front end development and doing handoff and having that conversation with the developers. And then if there's anything that has to do with a backend integration and payment stuff for the landing page, which I think there's no need for all of those, right? Because every other thing that is handled has to just do with signing up and logging in regarding that. And then the fourth phase now is testing with early users, people that come to the website, to identify whether they are going to be bounce rates or not. So if there's more bounce rates, then we are going to have if you have like a very high bounce rate, then we can you will have to go back to retweak the website such that the bounce rate is going to go lower and lower till it hits 0 eventually. Then after that, you can now have like a full official launch. And even for product website, like I always advise that when you're doing product website, you want to first do soft launch, right? So soft launch there are some platforms or communities where you can post about your company. That is what we call soft launch. So let's say you have an idea, you built out the idea, or you have your landing page, and you want the landing page to go to grow very quickly. What you want to do is that you nowadays, like people always like say this app, I want it to go global, or I want this app to go viral, but they are unable to. The way they do that now is you can join Reddit community, Facebook communities, even reach out to design different communities, Framer Dojo community, post your stuff there that, oh, we have this thing going on, right? And if people are interested, they'll be more likely to follow up with that. Then Ugu Chukwebuka said same thing as every other person have said. Week 1 for planning and research, week 1 for research, week 2 for planning and ideation, week 3 and 4 for redesign of the entire platform, and week 5 testing and documentation. So I'm not really sure about testing and documentation or what you mean about that by that, but everybody can go with what I said around what Boy Rush said. So this is not verbatim of what everybody is saying. I'm just trying to say it in such a way that people are able to follow or understand the best practices for designing a website. Okay, so we are just down to 1 minute before we go to the next part of the session. I think this is going to be the fourth session now, right, Steve? Wow, a lot of value, a whole lot of value here. Thank you so much for taking out time to come on the call. So over to you, Steve.
Okay, I think I will reshare my screen again with
Yeah.
um so this is the first activity. Um so when you work as a freelancer, and then you need to also track your time because you want to work with the client in a hourly basis. So I just want to share the tools for time tracking. Maybe Felix also can share what is his favorite tool, but the top two that I can find is top. How do I read this? But like Toggle. So this is like a simple time tracking tool for freelancer, and this is very good and easy to use. The second one is Harvest. Um, it can easily track billable hours. It also manage invoices and keep a record of project progress all in one place, so you don't have to do it manually in several different files. You can just do it in one place. So I'll give a chance to also Felix to share his recommended tools for this part.
Hello,
Or
can you hear me?
hello?
Hello?
Yes, we can hear you.
Hello?
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
yes, we can hear you.
Okay. So for me personally, there is actually what I use for time tracking myself is I track my stuff manually and digitally, right? So I don't know if there's a manual tracker. If I can share I don't know. Okay, I can't share my screen. There's a manual tracker that I use to.
Yeah, just click on share and we'll
Okay,
make.
give me 1 minute. Uh, okay, no, there's no need of there's even no need of sharing. Let me just on my camera. 1 minute. Can you see me now, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
there is I track my time like manually, and I track it with what's it called? There's this app on my PC. Let me check if it's still there. Okay, it's on my old PC. So personally, I use this. I don't know if you know this.
No.
This is a time tracker. I think the battery is dead. When you just turn it on, it will set a timer for you on everything you want to do. Like, okay, if you want to use 1 hour on this particular project, it will be 1 hour. When it's time, it will stop. When it's 2 hours, you set it there and stuff like that. And also in on when it comes to my PC on tracking projects, sometimes I use Trello to put in things together and put them in order so that I'll be able to track them and know where I am. And also I can't call myself an ancient person. I also use my notepad. I also use my notepad to just write things out and make sure I'm on track on I don't lose track on important things I need to do, that when I close for the day I will not remember. But most times for professional settings, like keeping track of my time and also to carry my client along, I use Trello most times to so that we're able to track our time, track our deadlines and stuff like that. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that. Felix, Steve, we'd like to see your screen now.
Okay.
So
Um,
we used to call it toggle and harvest.
okay. I think we are here long enough already, but like I still have like a lot of things to be shared, honestly. But I believe this is already self-explanatory. So later, I'll give this as a PDF. Then whoever that belongs to the community can get the access to it. So I'll let you organize this later, Adi Bimpe. So then like we can wrap up the presentation up until this point.
Yes,
I
absolutely.
think all the core part of like how you can navigate yourself as a freelancer, or you want to enter the full-time market, is suffice already. But yeah, just to tease people, there are many other things that I haven't shared here that you can get
This
as well
this
at the
is a
present.
lot. This is a lot. Yeah, I think if you share this with us, like okay, you can easily go through it. But yeah, just continue what you're saying.
Yep, yep.
So I think at this point, let's just do like a summary of what's it called? Let's just do a quick summary, and then where after that we are what we go where we are going to do, we'll just call it a close. Okay, is that fine?
Yeah, for sure. So
Okay.
I'll just recap what is being shared today
Yeah.
during this call
Or
webinar.
just give us like four takeaways. Four takeaways on how.
Okay, sure. So the first one is I'm just like going quickly through of like what is being shared as well. So the
Okay.
first one, we understand about the core business fundamentals for UX designers.
Okay.
So essentially we cover why UX design matters for business.
Yes.
We also cover the second part, which is like assuming that you already work in-house, work in an agency, or like you get a client, you also need to understand how you manage the client and how you manage the stakeholders. And there are some key parts here, understanding who is your client, who are the stakeholders that get involved there, and you need to speak their language. That's the key points here. And then the next one is about how you manage the project itself, which is about negotiating and do the scope management. Um, Basically covering the part of like how you determine how big the project is, how much does it cost, how long does it take to finish the project. Um, Also, we are covering pricing and budgeting basics, either you are as a freelance or in-house economics. So we also do some sort of practice of creating timeline for a project, and I believe this is a fun exercise for everyone. And we share a bit about how to do time tracking if you do hourly basis work. Yep, it was a very fun sharing, I believe, and I'm honored that I'm getting invited here to share all of this with you guys.
Sorry, in addition to this, there's also a tool by Fiverr that can also help you track all your project. Fiverr and Upwork. They have an inbuilt software that can also help you track your billable time, your hourly rate, and stuff like that. For example, some client want you to work on XYZ hours so that everybody will be paid fairly. So when you install the app on your computer, it will track the time you work on that particular project. Fiverr has the one they use. Um, Upwork also have the one so you can also check them, and I think they're also free. So in addition to this, you should have a lot of options to work with. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Felix. I think that will be all.
Yeah.
We've been
Thank you.
here for almost
Yeah.
2.5 hours.
Yeah. That's actually a lot. Thank you so much, Steve. So if you like to connect with Steve, he's always on X. You can find him at Steve Lauda, right? Exactly. So you can search for at
Yeah.
Steve Lauda. Please make sure all of you, please, we request that you follow Steve Lauda. He has been wonderful. You can even send him a code here. Even though he says no, no, send him a code here. Appreciate him for him taking his time, is losing sleep over this to make sure that you are well informed. So Steve, thank you so much for coming. We really appreciate it. And we
Thank
hope
you,
to
guys.
bring you one another time. Right, but don't worry, it will be much into the year or probably next year, and based on your schedule, right? So that's it. So you I think that will be all. So let me just face the audience now. So Steve, so you can get some sleep. Thank you so much for coming, really
Thank
appreciate
you.
it.
Thank you,
Yeah.
guys.
Yeah,
I think
Thank you
cheers.
I
very much.
log
Thank
off
you very
and
much,
then
man. Really
I'll
appreciate
sleep.
it. Thanks a lot, man.
Thanks, Felix, as
Yeah,
well.
yeah,
Have
thank
a
you,
great
man.
day for
Yeah,
everyone.
thank you.
Bye bye.
Bye. So guys, you've seen Steve, Felix. So what we want to do now is we want to do a shout out to everybody for taking out their time to come into these calls and attending all of these sessions. Again, you've gotten all the information to get you started in UX design, having your portfolio, and if you want to get a very good portfolio to make you stand out, why clients are reaching out to you based off of all the learnings you've had so far, please make sure you attend in 2 weeks time. That's February 15th, right? No, I don't, I keep forgetting the dates because it just came on to me like on short notice. So I think February 22nd, we are also going to be posting about it regularly in the different social channels of Fremont Dojo. And then we want to give a shout out to each and everybody that participated in the assignments and so on and so forth. So regarding any other information that you may need or ask, please be sure to make sure that you ask the community manager. uh be sure to ask the community manager on what's it called, on WhatsApp or via the comment section, right? And mind you, if we are going to give any awards to anybody, please, it will be directly from the community manager. Be try as much as well to avoid scams, because we right now we're just making a disclaimer in case somebody says uh they did a request and they got their personal details and their personal details were used for fraudulent means. We are taking an a clause now saying that we don't know anything about it. So that's that. So Felix, any shout out to guys before we call this a close?
So shout out to everyone that has been part of this program from start to finish. And firstly, I want to say thank you to our partners, which is Ripple.ai, a financial service that help you transfer money across the globe, giving you virtual accounts, virtual cards, so that you can make your transaction as seamless as possible. Then to save you from the stress of GT Bank, First Bank, and the likes like that. So they are here for you at any time. Same to thank you to Fremont Dojo as one of our strong partners also, which they help us with organizing this program perfectly. We are, as you can see, we're on their platform and they have all the resources, they have all the things to help you manage your project and also put your feet on track when it comes to design. Take it from me. When it comes to design and development, don't worry. Fremont Dojo, they got you covered. And also, they also do trainings and likes. So check them out, join the inner community. And also, the group that we have, the group will still continue to move forward. It will continue to move forward. Yeah. Then shout out to our tutor, shout out to myself. shout, yes, now.
Shout out, shout out to. So just in, another good news I have for the guys there is there's a much bigger design challenge that is coming. I'm hearing a lot of dollars now. I'm not hearing $10. I'm hearing $25, $50, $100, 200, 500, $1,000. Coming very shortly right your way. So please make sure that if you want to be partakers of this, be an active member in the community. We are going to be selecting people for that, and make sure most of this information will first get to people in the inner room. So that's why we keep iterating on coming to the inner room and so on and so forth. Again, if you are working your portfolio, you are struggling with your portfolio, you need to fix your portfolio. You have a client, you don't know how to talk to that client, or you're trying to approach a client and you don't know how to talk to them to balance it, or you are a bit confused on how you can make sure you get the money, or you don't know that you feel like you're not good enough to get started, please join the inner group, have these conversations with them. Will be available 247, like practically 247, to make sure that we're able to take your answers. And if your answers are not being met within 15 hours, you definitely get it in 24 hours maximally. So but other than that, you are going to be getting real-time updates in the inner group. Again, we are going to be having affiliate programs. These affiliate programs will be opened strictly first to people in the inner group to have access to whatever income that Freeman Dojo makes. Is you are also going to be partakers of that. Okay, and then we are also launching something shortly for people in the inner group and outside for a different ways on how they can make money. And one of it, Felix, should I say it? Okay.
Yes, you can.
Okay, so one of it is that we are launching. So I think we do yay. So we're launching a website where you can make your designs and literally post those designs there, and we are literally going to market it for you. So what you just need to do is do your design, make sure that design is solid, and then you're going to post it there, and we'll do the marketing for you, and then you just see how funds are going to be rolling in. Okay, so but again, before you can join that one, you need to first be a particular of the inner group, a subscribed member, because I feel like they are doing like subscription based stuff, right? So all of this other information are actually connected to you can get it more information from the Freema Dojo community manager, right? Their number is posted on the chat section, +2348097740519. Let me say it again, +2348097740519. No call, no text, just WhatsApp only. If you call or text, we are not going to attend to you. Just WhatsApp messages only, and we'll try as much as possible to reply you in light speed. So thank you so much, guys. Bye for now.